And what's going on, everyone? Welcome into a parlay with the G's. Normally NFL season, but we got some NBA playoffs going on right now. We got NHL playoffs going on right now. And I'm here with a new buddy of the show, Nino Carabello, who's going to step in, and he likes MLB. So we're going to get some MLB daily picks today for all the sports investors out there. So
That's
excited to be
right.
doing this here. So Nino, why don't you introduce yourself, maybe how you got into sports? And then
Yeah.
what we like to call sports investing on this podcast.
I've been sports investing now for the past 5 years. It was illegal actually back where I'm from in Oklahoma. So, I had to get around it using books and whatnot. But now that we're here in Arizona and it's legal, I have the MLB model fired up, ready to go. Big baseball guy. Die-hard Phillies fan till the day I die. How about them Eagles this year, baby?
Woo.
Gotta love it.
So how does
Um,
how does someone from Oklahoma become a Philly fan?
I always get that question, and my dad and mom are both from Philadelphia, so I'm originally from Staten Island, New York, so close proximity. Was just raised a Philly fan. It was born into me. It was bred into me. Gotta love it. Love the fans out there. Love the teams out there. Excited for this year and the Phillies, man.
Well, dude, Philly is a pain in the ass because, for the most part, they're pretty good in the sports that they play. Full disclosure for you here, I didn't tell you when we were playing tennis last night, but my dad gave me an Emmett Smith jersey when I was young. And the
Oh,
first game that he ever watched was, shoot, back in the 60s, where Bob Hayes caught a pass from Don Meredith. So he's been a Cowboys fan ever since. And I was born in 95. So it's a whole lot of heartbreak in between then. And I would say, with the Eagles, when I think back on them, I mean, you had the McNabb days, the Andy Reid days, you had guys like Brian Westbrook, you
Michael
had,
Vick,
Vic, I mean, Brian Dawkins was great. Just
Weapon
much more
X.
successful, right? A team that could actually get to the Super Bowl compared to the Cowboys.
That's right.
And they take it in 2017, and this past year, they took it all the way to get a win, too. So the Philly Eagles are the truth.
Yeah, this culture that they've instilled in the past 10 years is truly amazing. They just have that dog mentality, and you can see it, especially starts with the O line. That O line is physical and they're mean, and they will push people to the ground. So it's really exciting to watch. It's been a great ride so far. I think next year's going to be even better.
Special type of fan too from Philly. Like the
Oh,
only
yeah,
fans in the NFL that are going to snowball Santa Claus and it be like completely fine. That's just one place you don't want to go wearing another jersey because
that's
you're
right.
you're you're kind of running a risk for your your life at that
That's
point.
right. And we travel. I'll tell you what, when we had the NLCS out here in Tempe, the Phillies versus the Diamondbacks. Me and my buddy were probably two of the only Phillies fans in the whole section, and we were the loudest ones, and we were probably the most obnoxious ones out there. But tough series, tough series.
Yeah, I mean, they've had success in recent years. I feel like they got a really good roster too, but especially with you shedding light on MLB now this is gonna, pique my interest a little bit, especially day to
Yeah,
day as we get into this stuff and let's see what the Phillies are made of this year.
that's right. I'm excited to see it. The plays are starting to roll out. The season's getting along. We're 35 games in now, and there's actual data that we can analyze and process and actually put some value to these picks.
Perfect. All right, so let's get rolling here. The goal for Parlay with the G's normally during NFL season is we'll give our parlay for the week. On NFL Sundays, pretty lengthy schedule. You've also got the Monday night game, maybe the Thursday night game if you're wanting getting that involved as well with the parlay for the week. But being that it's a day-to-day business that we got now, we'll give out the parlay for the day. So why don't you share with us your process here of how you're going to get to your MLB picks here? And then let's get cooking on your parlay for the day.
Yeah, without a doubt. So I always start with, what I like to call my MLB model. And so this is a model that I actually came up with when I was in high school, and it computes a bunch of different statistics: ERA, batting average, on base percentage, home team away, home team and away. So you put it all into this model, and it predicts who's going to win based off those statistics. So you can see here on the screen, here's the model. And so everything in green, they're projected to win, and everything in red, projected to lose. On the left, we have the away team. On the right, we have the home team. And then we have the opening odds on both sides as well. So if you look all the way to the right, you can see the projected run differential. And so this is the margin of error, like the margin of victory. And so while this model, it's just a model. You can't really predict what's actually going to happen, but we can give our best guesses. And so I like to look for value plays on this. And so, for example, today I saw that San Diego was the dog against the Yankees, but they were also projected to win according to the model. Jackson Merrill's back in the starting lineup today. He missed the past 4 weeks with a calf strain. That's one of their best bats. San Diego's not shy of having good bats, so it's really good to see him back in the lineup. Expect some big stuff for him today. So let's go ahead and jump into my pick. Is this popping up okay?
So yeah, so when you say San Diego's projected to win here, is that because the tab there is in green, or where on the sheet are you getting that?
Right. So if you go there to game 9, you'll see SDNYY. So it's the Padres and the Yankees. So you can see their opening lines. The Padres are plus 150 underdogs.
Hmm.
And you come over here and you see the projected run differential. So they're projected to win by 1.19 runs. Obviously, you can't win by 1.19
Right,
runs,
right.
but it just gives you a good idea of, hey, through statistical analysis, San Diego, there's value on this play of taking San Diego money line. The model has them winning. They're coming in strong. They're pitching their number 2 guy in Dylan Cease, who doesn't have the best ERA to start the year. I think he's sitting at like a mid 4, which isn't great, but the Yankees have struggled against hitting off of Cease. You know, he's a knuckleballer. He throws a mean knuckleball, little knuckle curve, almost impossible to hit if he's throwing it well. So expect some big things from him today. Expect those bats to get hot. I know Max Fried is pitching for the Yankees right now, and he's playing unbelievable. I think the past seven starts he's had, he has like a 2.2 ERA, which is really good. But you know, every pitcher has a bad day, and expect that Yankees bullpen to give up some runs. Because Fried's going to pitch well, there's no doubt about that. Fried's going to have a good first 5 innings. But once Fried comes out, San Diego's bats are going to get hot, and they're going to get red hot.
All right, hell yeah. All right, let's go Pods. I definitely know some Pods fans out there, especially going to school in San Diego. But I also find fascinating with MLB, a lot of this, you're not going to have a team that's favored by 2.5 runs. Everything's on the run line, and that's
That's right.
similar to hockey as well. Everything's on the puck line as well too. But as we're talking about, and we mentioned last night, money line is a safe haven, teasing is a safe haven too. I don't know if you're going to take the Pods all the way at -1.5 today. But I like your model here. I like that you have some analytics involved. I'm not sure if this is AI, but this is definitely computer generated data and analytics that we're getting here to run some of your info.
It's all
So,
manually entered. It's all
all right.
manually entered.
Hey, and that's sometimes that's the way you got to do it. I've
Yeah.
seen people run into like Chat GPT, predict these playoff winners, who's going to win this game, and the AI
Right.
spits it out, and the AI is fucking wrong. Okay, so like let's not act like computers have all the answers here. Human
100%.
human instincts go a long way in the game. So yeah, let's check out what you got here.
So for my parlay of the day, I know I'm a little late with it because there was an early game this morning. But I have Cleveland Guardians, Washington Nationals over 9 runs, cashed in the 7th inning. We love to see it. The total was actually at 14. And so, like we were talking about last night, Alex, if it's a bad team, you typically just want to fade them.
Right. Hey,
And so,
real quick, can you flip your screen so we can see the book?
oh, yes, sorry. Let me get in here real quick. There we go. So, like I was saying, like we were talking about last night, if there's a bad team playing, we like to fade them.
Hmm.
There's no need to mess around with these White Sox and these Rockies. I mean, the White Sox have an abysmal record. They're pitching a pitcher today who has almost a 4 ERA. Royals have got their older guy. His name is Wacha. Wacha's on the mound, old veteran, 36 years old. Doesn't have the best start to the year, but Royals have the bats. The Royals are going to get it done. They actually opened at slight underdogs today, um, just in the run line, but money line, they're the favorites. I mean, come on, they're playing the White Sox. So they're going to get it done for us today. So expect some big things out of them. And then, secondly, we have the Tigers over the Rockies. It is in Colorado. The balls are going to be flying with that elevation. Expect another big day from the Tigers. Like we talked about the Padres, there's just value on them. And if you're scared with the money line, I understand. The Yankees are a good team, but there is so much value here that I just thought it was too good to pass up. Padres run line at +1.5. I think it's sitting at -115 right now. It's not a bad pick whatsoever. If you're a little bit more hesitant to take the money line, I would take the run line.
All right, so we got here Tigers so far on the money line. We got Royals on the money line as well today. And then the third one that you have is Padres +1.5.
Yes, sir.
So let's get Padres +1.5 here. Perfect. Okay, so with those three right there, we're sitting at, let's get here to this to generate. +298. Is that equal or on par to what you had earlier?
Yeah, I had the over in the Guardians and Nationals game that already hit this morning.
Okay.
So I think my odds were at +971. Um, so there's definitely it's a value play. I mean, toss a little bit of money on it. The Royals are going to pull through. The Tigers are going to pull
I
through,
like that.
and there's just so much value on the Padres that I could not take them.
All right, hell yeah. I mean, especially because your model was showing the Padres as a winner today. So
That's
to
right.
take them at +1.5, that's a good safety net that I like there. One thing, I might consider that I was mentioning that I like with you is you can even tease that backwards a little bit. Like maybe you can get them at +2.5 if you're
Yeah,
feeling a certain way. But if you're confident on the Padres to be able to win the game, then +1.5 is a great leg to have within the hat here.
that's right. And you spend you get lower odds if you take that 2.5, but I mean, that is such a safe bet. I think that is probably the safest bet on the slip today.
All right, so we got here from Nino a three-leg MLB heater coming in for parlay of the day. We're going to start off with the game between the Padres and the Yankees. Take the Padres +1.5 within this matchup. Padres sitting at 23-12 on the season. Yankees sitting at 20-16 on the season. Then after that, we're going to go with the Tigers money line over the Rockies. Tigers, a team that's 22-13 on the season versus the Rockies at 6-28. I mean, we're mentioning the Rockies are a bad team, so we're going to follow them along and we're going to pick on them, pin the
That's
tail on
right.
the donkey all year against the Rockies if they can't get their act together. And then lastly, we're going to finish with following another bad team, which is the White Sox. And I told you in July, this is when I like to start, getting in on the MLB, but the White Sox were bad last year. I think what did they get on like a 19 game losing streak? It was like a
Oh,
historical record they
it
may
was
have had.
terrible. They only won 26 games. They literally broke the record for the most losses of all time.
Wow. All right. Well, it looks like things aren't getting better here for them. So we're going to take the Kansas City Royals today on the money line as well. They're 21-16 versus a team that's 10-26. So this all checks off. This sounds good to me here. So we got +298 for Nino's three-leg MLB parlay today, and I like that a lot. Let's get out there and let's get some plays here. Okay, so for me, for parlay of the day, I'm not touching MLB yet. I'm going to still stay focused on the NBA and the MLB playoffs. And one thing that went well for me recently is doing series winners. So within this past month, I had some series winners that went well in the NHL. So I'm going to give a shout out to these four teams being the Washington Capitals, the Vegas Golden Knights. We also had the Toronto Maple Leafs as the third team, and then the Carolina Hurricanes were the fourth team. So some series winners, but there have been some upsets within the first few games here within the NHL, so that's something to keep note of. And also within the NBA, we had some upsets as well too. So that's something that was tough to predict, but it's going to happen, especially within 7 game series. We've got day-to-day picks that are going on, so we got to keep our eyes up. And I would say, as far as my advice goes, go heavy investing on series winners. If you think a team is, the better team at the end of the day, they're going to get the best of the other team within 7 games. But day to day, I mean, game one, game two, game three, it gets tough, because
100%.
things swing and it's really hard to corral that in particular. So my best advice is go heavy on series winners. You're probably not going to get a lot of value unless you get an underdog to get to plus money. So do a 3 leg, do a 4 leg parlay with some series winners. This is going to be a quick look here on how I went heavier on those 4 teams within the first round of the NHL. And I've got some other ones teed up here as well for the
I love
second
that.
round. So first round I had Hurricanes, Leafs, Knights, Capitals. And then in the second round here, prior to what happened in game one within the NHL, I'm going to ride here the Stars over the Winnipeg Jets, the Panthers over the Leafs, and the Capitals over the Hurricanes. Now, the Capitals had the best regular season record within the Eastern Conference. Doesn't guarantee you, anything in the postseason. We see a lot, I'm sure, in baseball too. A team with the best record, runs into. I know. So I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I know the Braves had the best record like a few years ago, and then they played the Phillies in the first round, and then the Phillies take them out of the playoffs. I'm like, are you
How it
kidding
goes.
me?
Those regular seasons, I mean, they give you a good kind of estimate of how they're going to do, but come playoff time, you got to go with your gut. Who's going to win. You got to feel out the teams, better than anyone.
And especially like a team that's hot at the right time, right? And that those are
Oh,
the teams that
100%.
you want to follow, especially if you got momentum going into the playoffs. Those are some teams to think about as far as series winners go. And the Capitals did lose last night, 2-1 in overtime, so that was a little bit concerning. They lost to the Hurricanes. But as far as my circle of trust that goes, I'm going to go Stars, Panthers, and Capitals as series winners. And then coming off of that, I also feel good about these two NBA teams. I know the Celtics lost game one to the Knicks, but to me, the Celtics are, better franchise than the Knicks are. They won the NBA championship last year, so I'll take them as a series winner in that one. I also like the Timberwolves roster compared to the Golden State Warriors. I'm looking at a team with guys like Naz Reid. I'm looking at Rudy Gobert. I'm looking at Julius Randle, who's super tall, super strong, and Anthony Edwards, one of the best, stars within the entire league as well. So I like the way they handled the Lakers in the first round. And I feel like the Warriors are not the same team from the past that I'm accustomed to. They're a new look team here now. Of course, the Warriors win game one and the Timberwolves lose game one at home, but I still feel pretty good about the Wolves to come out on top in that particular series. And then after that, because I'm a little worried about the Capitals, that was the one I felt least confident about. I'm going to keep going in on the Panthers. I've got them as a series winner. I know they lost game one to the Leafs, but organization wise, you know, Toronto has a reputation for choking in the playoffs. So I want to see them get past the Panthers in order to kind of put them into future picks. And then the Stars as well are a really strong team. They lost within the semifinal last year to the Oilers, but they took them down to the wire. And they'll also be getting one of their best forwards back, Robertson, coming back here for the Stars. So I feel like the Jets, yeah, they got past the Blues, but it wasn't dominant. That game went 7 series. And the Avalanche were actually expected by many people to get all the way to the Stanley Cup this year. They've got two of the best players in the NHL on their team, and Nathan MacKinnon and also Cale Makar. And the Stars were able to take them out in 7 games. Mikko Rantanen is a guy to take note of because he played on the Avalanche earlier this year, and then he was traded to the Stars, and he had a hat trick in Game 7 at home against the Avalanche. So that guy's a stud, and I'm going to roll with the Stars in round two here as a series winner. So those are my 4 teams as far as series winners goes between NHL, and then also we got the Wolves and the Celtics in the NBA. All right.
I'll tell you what, I love that Wolves pick, especially now that Curry's hurt. They said he's going to be out a week with that hamstring strain. Love the Wolves pick there.
Yeah, and so what I had gotten it at, I don't know, let's see, I believe it was Monday. They were at, let's see here, minus 175. So if you're going to go shop for the Wolves today after they're down 1-0 in that game, let's try to see if we can find here series market. And if we go here, Wolves, okay, minus 185. So actually not much of a difference there, which I'm surprised by because they're actually down one game. So you'd think you get better value, but I think the book kind of still sees it the same way. Curry got injured. We're not sure if he's going to come back, and they're still favoring them. But look at the
Right.
Celtics here. The Celtics were minus 800 before the series started. That's now dropped to minus 340. And the Thunder were minus 700 before the series started, and they're now down minus 290 after game one. Both of these teams losing game one. So there's definitely some value, that's shifting here around. And I know within the Cavs and the Pacers, the Cavs were favored as series winners there, and now they're underdogs at plus 175. So sometimes maybe it's good to, go in on series winners, but also monitor it, maybe kind of jump back on later, assess what's been going on, and then kind of compile your teams from there. But series winners markets is something that I love, especially when it comes to playoffs. And it's a peaceful way to watch something.
Oh,
Like
100%.
game to game, you're not, freaking out as much what happens night to night. But when that game seven rolls around or that game six rolls around and you got that teed up, that's a great way to be watching some playoff games. All right, so let's jump over to parlay of the day here. I'm going to go to the scores tab and let's start off with the NHL to begin with here. So within the NHL, we have two matchups tonight. The first matchup is going to be in Toronto, where we're going to go to game two between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. One thing I like to do on ESPN is going into Gamecast for all the games that we have here. And within Gamecast, usually they give you a analytics radar. I know they do it within NBA games, but that'll show you a matchup predictor. So if you're just doing this stuff from afar and you don't want to think at all, and you want to pick a money line team, I'd go with the higher percentage of the matchup predictor for a lot of these games. And someone like ESPN's putting in a lot of stats and a lot of stuff that goes into like giving you those odds. One thing I like here for the Panthers, no injured players. If we look here for the starting goalie for the Maple Leafs, he's out. So that's something for me that spells an advantage for the Panthers tonight. He took an elbow in the back of the head in game one from Sam Bennett. And so that was something that was pretty controversial. So in comes a new goalie for them. And the Leafs also have Hakanpää, a defender that's going to be out as well too. Another thing that I like to look at when it comes to NHL is I like to look at your goal output. And for the Panthers, they're at about a 3 goal range per game, and the Leafs are at about a 3.26 goal range per game. Now, what does that spell for you? I know you like overs and unders in MLB, but if this team is averaging 3 and this team's averaging 3.26, if the over under is 5.5 or 5.5 goals within NHL, I'd probably be looking to take the over between these two teams.
Just
And when
based on their averages.
yeah, just based on their averages, what their output is. And if we look here in game one, the final score was 5-4. So that
Hmm.
definitely was, capable of going over between these two teams. Not the thing I feel best about, especially with putting in parlays. I hate losing over unders. It is traumatic. But if that's something that you want to use as far as info goes, that's something to look at. And then also looking at teams' last five. How have you been looking within the last five? Now, regular season, this is good, especially I'll be doing this for MLB as well, kind of seeing how have you been doing lately within your last five matchups. But in a playoff series, it's kind of hard to predict because everything is a fresh series that's starting out.
Right.
So advantage Panthers tonight. I also have them as a series winner. But what happens if the Panthers lose, right? That's something that is a risk. They already lost game one. So what I'm going to look at here as far as this matchup goes is clicking into this game. I'm going to go find the game lines here after that. And then after I get to game lines, I'm going to come down here and see what the value is as far as the puck line goes. Now, really safe would be taking the Panthers at plus 2.5, but minus 775. That doesn't really get us out of bed in the morning. We'd have to put in, a decent amount of legs in order to get the pick here. So let's go Panthers plus 1.5 at minus 385. That's going to protect us in case they lose in overtime. But I think they're the better team, and I think that's a good range for them tonight. So that'll be the first play that we have here. Next up, that we have as far as a pick goes for today within the NHL, we get our first chance to pick between the Dallas Stars, and they're going to be going up to play the Winnipeg Jets, who had the best regular season record, and they had the President's Trophy within the NHL. Same thing as far as GameCast goes here. I'm going to go check out some of these teams, see what their record is, see how they've been doing as of late. Check out an injury report here as well. The Stars took out the Avalanche in 7 games, and the Jets took out the Blues in 7 games. So, both teams had a grind to get here to the first round of the second round of the playoffs, let's say. One thing that I'm noticing right here is that the Stars' best forward, Jason Robertson, he's the left wing and he's day to day, but he's anticipated to return today. So there's a high chance that they get him back tonight. And also their other defender who's really good, Heiskanen, he's going to be back on May 9th. So they won't have him today, but they're getting some troops back, which is going to help them out in this series. And I'm not entirely sure of who these Jets players are, but some of these guys are day to day as well. No marquee names for me to take note of here. Okay, when it comes to over under, still, on the higher side, we got 3.35 and 3.35 for both of these teams. So that's getting you, at around, 6.7 in total goals. So if I'm going here, let's say for NHL and going to this game, you're at 5.5. So I feel like over would be good for Stars Jets, and also over would be good for Panthers Leafs if you're looking at either of those as far as a total goes. All right. And then after that, we're looking at some, games here. The Jets went down to the wire against the Blues. They were down 3-2 with 12 seconds left, about to lose their entire season. And somehow, some way, they got the puck in front of the net with 1.6 seconds left for their lives, and they got a stick on the puck and they scored. So
Yeah,
they
that was
sent,
incredible.
I mean, dude, like, are you kidding me? Like,
Absolutely incredible.
especially on the side, if you have the Blues as a series winner upset, that would have really upset you if that happened
Without
to someone out there.
a doubt.
But hey, maybe they're a team of destiny. Just by the skin of their puck, they're able to find themselves to overtime, and then 20 minutes goes by in overtime. We get to a second overtime, and they somehow, some way, find the back of the net against Binnington, who's one of the best goalies in the NHL for the Blues. He represented Team Canada this year in the Four Nations face-off, but hey, the Jets are moving on. All right. With all that being said, I said in the beginning of the podcast, I like Stars as a series winner. Now they are on the road here, so let's take them on a teaser at +1.5. So they're favored by -1.5 tonight. Let's go on the safe side here, and let's go ahead to go to game lines. And instead of taking them on the money line, which we have them as a series winner, let's get them at -320 here. All right. So now we got 2 legs in our parlay for the day. But Nino, I'm not excited yet. I'm at -159 here, right?
Come on, give me another pick here, Alex.
That's not magic right there. We need to get a little more value here, right? We at least want to double. I mean, we're not going to show up to the party if we can't double what
Gotta
we
double the
came with
money.
here, right? We gotta double the investment. All right. So what does that leave us with? That leaves us with jumping over to the NBA here and trying to make a pick tonight. All right. Okay, so let's go here between the Celtics and the Knicks. This is going to be game 2 between these two teams, and the Knicks won game 1. Now, however, the Celtics were leading by 20 points in that game, and the Knicks come back in the second half, right?
Right.
I've got a buddy who's crazy Knicks fan, and he was just going nuts, go New York, go New York, go.
And
I'm
it's in Boston.
And it's in Boston too, right? Reigning,
Yep.
defending champions. So
Yep.
this
Winning
is
winning franchise.
a winning franchise. We talk about winning cultures, winning
Yep.
organizations. Celtic City, great series to watch. If you get a chance to watch that on Max, that kind of takes you through some of Boston's history of winning.
Yeah, fantastic show.
But yeah, I wanted to show you here matchup predictor. So you can find this on the ESPN app, and it's showing this now on desktop version 2. But right away, we're looking at the Celtics at a 58% chance to win here, according to analytics. So that's something that makes me feel good about game two. Also, if you want to get into player props, it's great to look at team stats. So you can see, season leaders. You can break it down to regular season or just in the playoffs. Points, rebounds, assists. Those are things that are going to be popular for NBA. I personally would probably only touch points for a player because that's something that's kind of more fun to follow. But Brunson for the Knicks is going to be your guy, and Tatum for the Celtics is going to be your guy too, as far as reports go. Knicks don't have any injured players tonight, so that's something to take note of. And as far as the Celtics, Porzingis is a game time decision. All right. As far as points total go, very even between these two teams, 116 and 115. And, the Celtics lost game one by 3 points, but they were up by 20. Now, if I've got the Celtics as a series winner, they got to be able to win one of these games at home here. And I think they're the better team. So let's just make it pretty simple on ourselves. And let's go in here to NBA. Let's find the game, and they're at minus 535. So that lets you know what the public and the books think about this game. And let's add them as another one. But damn it, we're at minus 108, and we can't get the party going enough here. What's the move here, Nino? Do I got to jump in on the Nuggets and the Thunder?
I'll tell you what, I was looking at those lines a little bit earlier in the day, and being from Oklahoma, I'm a Thunder fan at heart, and that Thunder team is so good. They're leading the whole game, and sure, they didn't come up at the end, and the Nuggets had a crazy game-winning shot, but don't expect that again today. Expect SGA and Jalen Williams and Lou Dort to come out shooting, to come out fired up. I really think that the Thunder are going to run away with it again today. They had a great showing their first series, swept them pretty easily too. The T-Wolves are not the T-Wolves. The Grizzlies are not a bad team whatsoever. And OKC stuck it to them. I think the first game they won by 50. Second game they won by 25. So they just have to get on their roll and expect them to win one of these games down in OKC. It's in OKC. Expect a big game from them. I have a parlay actually with them included and Boston money line. So we're already on the same wavelength there.
All right. Well, I haven't touched it yet, but I'm glad that the Oklahoma faithful is riding with the Thunder tonight. Now, did you get plus money between the Celtics and the Thunder tonight?
Let me check here. I believe I did. Yes, sir. I am at plus 129 between the two.
That's it. What more can you ask for? A
Hey,
little two-legger, money line, safe and peaceful. They don't got to win by two. They just got to
that's
win the
right.
game
They just
outright.
gotta win. Doesn't matter how much it's by as long as they win it.
All right, so I like it. So Nina's rocking the Celtics, the lucky Irish tonight, and then those Oklahoma City Thunder, who were once the Seattle SuperSonics. Let's not forget that.
Don't forget, Kevin Durant was drafted there as
That's right.
well.
That's right. So yeah, for this matchup, for me, it's kind of alarming. I don't know what's going on with the NBA, but the Knicks are a plus 10.5 underdog in Boston tonight, and they won game one. And the Nuggets are a plus 10.5 underdog in Oklahoma, and they won game one too. So as much as you like the Thunder, and I'm not going to say that they're not the better team because they had a better record within the regular season. I actually side with Nikola Jokic being the best player in the NBA. They won the championship recently. I like guys like Jamal Murray on that team. I like Aaron Gordon. I mean, the guy is like a center and he hits a game-winning three-pointer
Right.
last game, right? So he's a pretty good guy there too. And for me, what I feel best about within this matchup, if I had to go aside, is those 10.5 points with the Nuggets. That's a
That's a
lot.
lot of points.
That's a lot of points, and like I'm not sure if the Thunder are gonna blow them out, but let's see like where we can tinker this to where like I feel like, really safe with the Nuggets here and we still get to plus money. So if we take plus 10 where it's at right now at minus 120, then now our parlay looks much better. We just went from minus 108 to plus 253. And the boys are excited on plus 253,
We're getting out of
especially
bed
for
for
the day,
doubling that money.
right? We're getting out of bed for that. But what's like a number here that's even like safer? Like what's like a worst case scenario here for NBA teams? Is it 14 and a half points? I mean, that's
I'm
two
looking at that
touchdowns and two extra
15 and a
points.
half number. See what
15.
that, what we got? Minus 231 brings us at plus 176. I
Okay.
don't expect the Thunder to beat them by more than 20. I expect the Thunder to win, but 15.5 points is a lot. I don't see them winning by 16. So I do think there's value there. Is 1 point going to make the difference in the world? It could. It could.
All right, my friend. So, not knowing too much about NBA scores, I mean, I'm looking at a team who beat another team in game one, and they're 10.5 point underdogs going into game two with no injuries and the same roster that they're rolling out. It's NBA playoffs. You got the Joker on your team. I mean, for me, I think 10.5 is disrespectful, but just for odds sakes, I'm going to get us to plus 201 for today. Something, a little bit more than plus 100 for the boys. And let's go with the Nuggets plus 13.5 to get us to plus 201 on the day. Let's take our $10 make me holler and then let's get you 20 profit on the day here. Now, if you want to go a little more than that, that's totally up to you. But we like to stay RG positive here, doing this as a source of entertainment. So
I
that's
love it.
it.
I
So
think
yeah,
that's I think those are four great picks.
yeah.
I'm
So
really excited for that Denver OKC game. I think it's going to be an incredible game. Hopefully, tight scoring. Expect Oklahoma City to be fired up, but I do think the Nuggets cover that spread and possibly even win the game.
So I mean, yeah, so definitely like a plus 13.5, then that's a lot safer there that we're talking about here compared to, just taking the Nuggets on the money line or the Thunder on the money line. I could definitely see the Thunder taking the money line tonight, but out of everything, we've got plus 1.5, we got plus 1.5. Celtics on the money line, right? Better organization. Let's roll with them. And let's go
Winners.
Nuggets plus 13.5 tonight. And then Nino, just to recap here for you, your three legs for today.
We have Royals money line against the White Sox. It is in Kansas City. We have the Tigers money line against the Rockies in Colorado. So expect the balls to be hit out of the park. And remember, we got that Padres play. It's a little sneaky dog, but they're such a good team. They're getting one of their best bats back today. Expect a big performance and a big showing from them.
All right, hell yeah, Nino. And I'm looking forward to more MLB picks as the season rolls around here. I will be joining you, but we need to let the dust settle here between NBA and also between the NHL as well. And then when June finals roll around and we're left feeling empty come the end of June, we got some MLB and
Time to
we
fire
got
up
some
that
Wimbledon piled
MLB.
up.
Yes, sir.
All right, and thank you guys so much for joining our parlay of the day, parlay with the G's picks. Go out, get your value, and we'll see you later.
Good luck today.